are looking amazing.
Well, I figured, I'd bring out my Sunday best if we're going live. Crank out the old Uncle Si tie and the cool Bears shirt. And, the NFL draft just got wrapped up. We've been, unfortunately, in our little household battling sickness and health and all of the rest and trying to be productive while maintaining sanity and all of that. But here we are.
Yeah.
And
we got a lot of positive stuff happening. It's just all happening at one time.
That's the way it goes. Yeah. So anyway, trying to be productive while at the same time keep ourselves healthy. And
are you excited about the Bears draft? Like what they're doing so far?
Yeah, no, I think that what the Bears did this year was
Is it really done?
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, okay.
What they did this year, I think, was really good. They ended up getting a really good tight end. They've got some really good linemen coming in, some more weapons on offense and defense. I think that's always positive. So, but there again, it's every year for every franchise. You're like, oh my gosh, this is the year. Unfortunately, it's only the year for a couple of teams, but I think that this year will be better, but we'll see. Anyway,
so the people that are drafted, like they're drafted yesterday, how quickly do they have to move to Chicago and start there?
Well, they don't. I don't. Camps and all of that don't start until later on in the like summertime and stuff like that.
So they don't have to make immediate moves.
No, right.
Gives them some time to transition. That would be tough.
Well, and you have players that are switching teams, and you have, all of those things are happening all of the time. So.
All right. Well, maybe we should get started on some art.
Some art stuff instead of the football talk. With
football's fun too. Football's a big part of our lives as well as
we watch a lot of football.
Except for I'm Vikings, he's Bears, and then I have another son that's Broncos. So we're kind of all across the board.
Well, and you have family members that are
Cowboys,
and I have family members that are Cowboys. I have family members that are Steelers. I have family members that are a cross section of teams. Kansas City Chiefs are another one that a lot of my family members are supporters of. So I don't know.
If you had to rank, so if I had to rank my favorite football teams, I don't know why we're getting stuck on football, but it would be Vikings, Bears, Chiefs. What would be your top three?
Bears, and Bears.
No, you can't do that.
I think there are like for you to like two teams in the same division is like I like the Bears and the Packers. Like that's just like you can't do that. You can't.
But I can. This is me. This is my choice.
It is?
Okay, so what's your choice? Top three. If you had to
if I had to choose, I wouldn't make another choice. But I think that like for example, there are times where like in the Super Bowl, you're like, I wouldn't mind seeing them or whatever. Like this year, I didn't like the idea of the Lions going to the Super Bowl wasn't like, no, like the Packers would be like, just beat the Packers. Right. I don't care. But for me, I've always kind of liked, obviously the Bears have been number one forever, but I don't know, Seattle, the Seahawks. I don't mind the Seahawks because one of my favorite college players from back in the day, Brian Bosworth, this is going back 1,000 years. People don't even know who Brian Bosworth is anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, I liked him as a player, so it kind of rubs off. But I don't know.
You're so not.
It's hard for me.
Live on the edge and just say it.
But that's just not how I am. I'm not programmed to be like. It would be like you saying to me, "Well, of like the other day we were watching that. What was that TV show we were watching with the three the three ladies. It was a stupid movie.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't know. It was
Anyway,
with Diane Keaton.
And Lulu
Yeah.
and somebody else.
Shut it
Anyway,
off.
this movie was going on, and they like were older, and they transformed into their younger selves through this elixir that one of their husbands had made. It's a stupid movie. Anyway, well, which of those girls do you think is the prettiest? Well, like,
You can. The truth is, you can never make a decision. It's like you can't. If something is your favorite or something, you can never make a decision.
It's hard for me.
It's a problem.
It's
okay. Well, you're gonna have to make a decision now because I'm gonna ask you an art
topic.
Yes.
Here we go.
All right. So this kind of ties into our conversation. Interestingly enough, Nike is the Greek goddess of victory. Her winged figure, the Nike of Samothrace, I have no idea how to say that, was carved in marble around 200 BC. Although it is now headless, it is one of the greatest remaining examples of Greek sculpture. Today, Nike's name is better known for a line of athletic wear. If you were an advertising executive, what great work of art would you choose as a symbol for a new product?
Well, I think that particular sculpture, which is at the Louvre, it's very prominent at the Louvre. I've seen it multiple times. It's a really great sculpture.
Without the head?
It hasn't had its head for
I understand
hundreds of years, thousands of years,
takes
perhaps.
A lot away from it.
Well, it's obviously you've never seen it, so you wouldn't know. But no, it's a pretty powerful piece. If I had to, what was the question?
Yeah. If you were an advertising executive,
which I am not,
what?
Because I don't make decisions real well.
What great work of art would you choose as a symbol for a new product?
What god or goddess?
No, just great work of art.
Oh,
it doesn't have to be a god or goddess.
Oh, so I'm not thinking about a god or goddess like Nike. I'm thinking about a work of art.
Yeah, that you would change into
product. Is this claiming that Nike named itself after that statue?
Nike is the Greek goddess of victory. And they're saying that Nike is after that, I would assume.
I think that it would be after the goddess, not the sculpture. But
you're getting stuck in the details here. Just answer the question, Mr. Berger.
I would say if I had to make a product, I think it would depend on what the product was. For example, if I was to make bibbed overalls that were rough and rugged, I would call them the American Gothic overall. And use use the American Gothic window as a logo. If I was to make, I don't know, like a restaurant or something, I wouldn't necessarily use American. You could use American Gothic, but you wouldn't have to. American Gothic. But going back to football, I always wanted to have a bar. The house divided into 4 parts and have each one of the NFC North, this is the Lions part, and this is the Vikings part, and this is the Bears part, and this is the Packers part, and then have the games up, and you could be like, I'm sitting in the Packers side, and screw you, Lions, or whatever.
Yeah, we could have lots of bar fights there. Great idea.
Well, I think it's a good idea.
Okay, so what are you going to use? What's the point of bringing this up? What are you going to use as your symbol?
But if you had like American Gothic as like a family restaurant, like that could work. But you definitely wouldn't use like Saturn devouring his children, where you have Saturn eating his children.
I really like. Okay, so we talked about make American Gothic great again, right? This was my idea when we left the American Gothic, because I was so sad that the town is so run down,
right?
And it's such a big part of history. Like, let's make American Gothic great again. Here it is. There's our chance. But you should start a bib line with the American Gothic similar logo.
Because I know how to sew denim into
Then you don't have to be the
overalls.
person that does that. You can just generate the overalls and
How am I
the-
going to generate the overalls? I can't just AI
the logo.
overalls.
Sorry, the logo, and then like the theme of it, and then we can have. Oh my gosh, we could.
I'll
we could have
sell it
somebody
to
design that.
Dungaree and make $1 million.
Please.
But
Oh my
why
gosh,
would
that's
they
a
just?
brilliant idea.
Why would they just do that on their own without me?
Maybe they don't have that thought. Maybe no one's motivated to do it. We're motivated to do it.
Oh,
Well,
there
I
you go.
am.
You can pitch my idea and I'll take half the profit, which will be zero.
We'll see. I'm gonna make some American Gothic bibs.
American Gothic overalls for yous that are
I
into
just
America.
need to sub a couple
and
days in
Gothic.
what is
Gothic
the class?
America.
What's the class that you home ec? Is
Home
that
ec.
where you learn to sew?
That you learn how to sew in home ec.
Yeah.
I learned to sew in middle school home ec. Mrs. Watson.
I've never seen you sew.
Yeah, well, I have.
You have a lot of buttons missing on your shirts.
We had to sew. We had to sew pair. That was back in the MC Hammer days. We had to sew our own MC Hammer pants.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you picked out the material and you got a pattern, and you had to
Let's
get
just
your
do.
you had to get your sewing kit, and
Yeah.
we did it. Made our own. Some of them were really wonky. Some of them were really good. Mine were okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what I do remember making something and it not turning out the greatest. Like maybe like a dress or something.
Sewing is quite an art form that I'm not very up on, but I'm not opposed to being up on. At any
Sewing?
rate.
Okay, well, I'm
So-
breaking out my computer because
Oh, here we go. Technology extraordinaire.
well, we're moving into brushstrokes or bluffs, and I have to
Oh.
have my computer in order to do brushstrokes or bluffs. So
Because you don't know how to write things on paper.
okay, I'd have to write a whole long thing about it and then
Okay.
read it. So why not just grab my computer?
Perfect. What do you got?
Wonderful. Okay. In 2024, is this truth or is it false?
Is it true or false? In 2024,
An investigation by The Guardian, do you know what The Guardian is?
it's a news outlet.
Uncovered that several of Damien Hirst's iconic formaldehyde sculptures featuring preserved animals like a dove, a shark, and twin calves were actually not created in the 1990s as previously believed, but were actually fabricated in 2017.
Number one, I don't know why that would matter when they were fabricated, other than it would be a kind of a false claim. I would say that that's probably, I don't know. I would say that's true.
It is true. Here's why I think it's interesting, or why I kind of chose this.
So I'm 100%. I'm not quite 100%. I've missed a few of these, but I'm doing pretty well.
You are doing pretty
I'm
well.
on a streak.
Which I would assume, because you're always you're always researching, and yeah. I mean, I don't assume. And this is
I
pretty
haven't read
contemporary.
this, but I have not read this. But I can definitely buy that would be a true thing. Anyway, why is it important that this is true?
Well, I think it just brings up like interesting topics we could talk about in
Right.
regards to it, because like, okay, so here's one. So what responsibilities do artists and galleries have in disclosing dates of artworks?
Right.
Like we've talked about this, because I don't understand how you know it's truth, or how you know. Like you have to believe what they say and hope they are right. And really, are they right most of the time or not? These people that are going in and doing this research.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's like any source. You know, you can have a first like an account of for a research paper, and any person can say anything they want, but having a credible source is hugely valuable, which is why I take really great pride in the fact that I have students from across the country, around the world, that come to Art 1-on-1 and Art 101 with Mr. Berger to generate and collect information for their research papers that they're doing for college level stuff and college credits and stuff like that. I've got Just the other day, I had a student email me, "Thank you for helping me get an A on my art appreciation paper." I don't know what they were writing on off the top of my head, but they were thanking me for helping them out. And I appreciate being able to help people out, passing along knowledge, helping the teacher on the front line,
Yeah.
get accurate information to students so that they have an appreciation for the arts.
Well, and you're perfect because you're a little bit OCD, and so you're very like going to make sure you research it
I
in
don't
depth
know
and know
what
your
that
topics.
exactly means,
It
but
means that if
No,
you're going to
but I
research
get you.
something, you're going to get it right. You're
I'm
going
going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the best sources that I have at my fingertips to be able to give you the best information.
Here's the perfect example of his OCD, and I'm live, so you're not gonna like this, right? But literally, we're like fixing up our house. Okay, we're out working in the backyard yesterday because it's so nice out,
So we're doing this live. So you're bringing up this whatever this is.
and you can't say anything. But okay, here's his. He said,
I can't
"What's this
edit you out.
OCD stuff?" No, you can't.
Well,
So we're painting and we're like staining for or outdoor furniture and making it to where it's waterproof or whatever. And he decides he's going to start cleaning up the dandelions in our backyard, which I should turn the video out there. There's thousands. There's like an over infestation of dandelions in our backyard.
Whoever was in charge of our yard prior to us buying the yard did not particularly care of dandelions because it is basically
It's
a
crazy.
dandelion farm out there.
It is. Okay, but literally hundreds. I'm working on all these different projects. I'm doing this and that. And he is taking a little, whatever, that little shovel and by one digging the dandelions out of the yard. He literally has hundreds of dandelions in the back of a tub and hundreds of holes in our yard now. Because once he gets focused on something, so, I mean, I'm like, okay, you've got like 5,000 more. Are you going to be able to stop? Because you're going to be out there for years.
Number one,
this is my life.
There's not hundreds of holes. What I would do is I take the trowel and I pop the root. You can hear it pop the bottom of the root, so you get the majority of the root out. You boom, then the dandelion is then removed, right? Usually they grow in clusters, so like one will grow to another. So you have, because the generations of these dandelions have been out there just living, apparently. How we didn't notice that when we bought the house, I don't exactly know. Anyway, the point is that I was out there and you pop the root, then you pull them out, and so it leaves a little bit of a hole because of where the root was. But other than that, a little bit of filter, a little bit of sand, a little bit of manicuring, the yard's going to be up and rolling. But we have sprayed and we have hired people and we have done this and we've done that, and it's just not fast enough for me. So I'm just saying, all right, while I'm waiting for the stain to dry, while I'm waiting for the polyurethane to cure or whatever the hell I'm doing, I'll just pull some weeds.
So for those of you,
my mom did that. She'd sit out by the highway. We lived, our house is on a highway. She'd sit out basically on the highway pulling out weeds. So I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen that are watching the podcast, he is up for hire. He is a teacher. So in the summer, if you need weeds one by one,
removed. Although they do say, I don't know what part of the dandelion you used for consumption. I don't know if it's the root. I don't know if you got to crush it. I don't know if it's the dandelion flower. But I have had dandelion wine. I don't know.
Dandelion tea is very popular.
I don't know what part of the dandelion they use, but we could potentially have a American Gothic dandelion tea company happening out here.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked. Okay, so another thing that I really made me think about this when I was reading it, why I wanted to talk about it, is because has there been in history a particular case like this where people were the people that were deciding whether it's old, new, what is that called? What are those groups called?
I
Do you know?
I don't
Actually review it. Like what's going on with the
like an art critic.
no, like the one that's trying to determine if that painting we've been talking about it a
Oh
lot.
yeah, the Van Gogh painting.
Yeah, the Van Gogh painting. The people that are reviewing that and trying to see if it's actually a Van Gogh painting.
Authentic, like
Yeah.
authenticating.
Yeah. Is it a group of people? Is it a business? Is it
There's multiple groups.
okay?
There's multiple businesses.
So has there been a case in history where they have like came out with a conclusion, announced it, and like painting sold for millions of dollars, and then they're like, oh shit, this isn't for real, and then it's really like a painting that's probably worth $5.
In current history?
Well,
No.
Yeah,
No. In like we talked about this quite some time ago now. There was a forager who was making Vermeers during World War II, and he was selling them mostly to Nazis, taking advantage of their ignorance, and making quite a bit of money selling these forgeries to Adolf Hitler and Goring and these other art collecting folks in Germany. Did that happen? Yeah. Were they authenticated? Sure. But were they forgeries? Yes, they still were. So has that happened? Yes. Has it happened where the people that are doing the research have gotten it wrong? It has. But the science and the things that happen now aren't just, okay, let's look at the surface. It's looking deep into the artwork in through MRIs, like literally, like looking at layers of this through X-ray, looking at the type of paint, not just the color of the paint, but like at the nuclear level, like what exactly is this? Let's break it down into like, is this the exact paint that would have been used on this other collection of works or whatever? They're taking samples of paint and
right.
and
Can you actually tell how old paint is when you have like a little piece of it?
well, somebody can. Like, well, they can look at not just the paint, but the fibers. They can carbon date anything. The fibers of the whatever the canvas or whatever it's made out of, they can figure out the
It's kind of
date
like a crime scene.
Right. They can use all kinds of information to break down using science and technology to figure out exactly when something was made. There are some artists, well, like, and again, you're talking about the difference of 10 years with these Hearst works.
Right.
So really, in the grand scheme of things, and really, is it going to make a huge impact on anything? Probably not. Who cares if Damien Hirst put a shark in a formaldehyde in 1996 or 2006? Who cares? It's still the artwork. He still made it. It's still the thing. You can still argue whether or not you believe that it's artwork or not. That's really not the point. The point is, that it was made, that here it is, here's what it's about, move forward.
Well, and I agree. I totally agree with you on that. I just liked the topic because for me, it was like, oh, I wonder if there was more. I do remember us talking about Vermeer and that particular topic, but I was wondering if there are any other instances where something like that happened, where these people that are supposed to have all this experience to be specialists, where maybe they made an error and cost somebody millions of
but again
dollars.
like in that, you're really not going to cost anybody money, because
well, sure you are. If it's sold as a painting that was a Van Gogh and someone buys it then for $1 million and
correct.
then they find out, oh shit,
but there's a difference. Again, there's a difference between somebody saying, here's Van Gogh's latest artwork, buy it for $15 million, or Damien Hirst saying, I said that I made this in 2006. I really made it in 1996.
I understand that.
So
I'm not disagreeing with you. It was more about bringing up the topic of that because I thought it would be
Understood.
cool.
Yeah.
But there's no other one that you can think of besides Vermeer because we have talked about Vermeer.
Well, I
in that
mean,
one.
there have been forgeries done of all kinds of artworks and famous artists. There have been forgeries of Van Gogh paintings. There's copies of and versions of the painting that Vincent van Gogh did of Dr. Gachet that some are credible, some are fake. There were fakes that were done of, you name an artist. Salvador Dali once went on a binge making forgeries of his own artworks. So what he did was Salvador Dali got a bunch of printing paper and he would just sign the corner of it. And he was selling like blank paper with his signature on it. And so that he would basically sell the paper promoting fakes. And so there's lots of Salvador Dali fakes out there that are actually signed by Salvador Dali. Rembrandt van Rijn. Rembrandt van Rijn had a huge art studio, and he had students that were working underneath him. Well, he would say, "Hey, you're a really good student. I really like that painting." He would take it because he was, he was in charge, and he took the painting. He'd sign his name on it, and he'd sell it as his own. And then he'd do paintings that he wasn't very happy with, and he'd say, "Hey, here, sell this, make some money." So then you would write your name on it. So you would be signing your name on a Rembrandt, and Rembrandt was signing his name on things that didn't belong to Rembrandt. And so there's this cross-contamination of things that are and aren't signed or aren't correctly attributed to Rembrandt. And so his artwork gets really, really muddy. As a matter of fact, as I recall, the Des Moines Art Center, our local art museum, had a Rembrandt in its collection for a long time that turned out not real.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So
it's a cool story, though. I'd keep it in there and
it happened. Well, and
have the story posted about why it's not.
Well, it's interesting, like, to put that in a show next to an actual Rembrandt and say, okay, like that would be a cool premise for an art exhibition.
Right.
Like, get some authentic ones, get some fake ones, put them next to each other, say, here's the story. And
you're coming up with some great ideas today. Where are these ideas at? Other days.
They're I don't know. I have nothing clever to say. I ran out of ideas.
Well, you have an interesting idea, another idea that you want to do today to end our live here. We're about 30 minutes or something.
This is kind of a trend. Lots of folks on the internets, on the interwebs are doing this, where they're going to ChatGPT and they're saying, take this photo of my family, take this portrait and roast my family, roast the whatever. And as far as I know, ChatGPT knows who I am. We are on speaking terms. So live, as an experiment, I have my computer and I have put in some information. Here's what I have prompted. Using all of your processing powers to create, will you develop a savage and spicy roast of Mr. Burger of Art 101 and the pod boss, Nicole Jordan, from the podcast Art One-on-One? Don't hold back.
Oh, great.
And it's thinking. I just pushed the button. Oh, okay.
It's 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock.
Are you running into technical difficulties?
No, it's
generating.
It's generating.
I'm gonna move this over.
It's still going. It's
it's like, where do you want me to stop?
Okay. And it is ready. Read aloud.
You want full nuclear roast mode? You want the no mercy allspice flamethrower edition? Buckle up, Burger and Pod Boss. I'm about to turn this into an art history crime scene. Sir, you are the human embodiment of a before picture at a Renaissance barbershop. You're out here teaching Art 101 like it's 1776, and they just invented chalk. Your YouTube channel got the energy of a man explaining paint drying, but acting like it's a UFC fight. You don't make art accessible. You make it sound like a hostage negotiation between a crayon and a canvas. Your beard looks like it was painted on during a bad impressionist phase.
Whoa.
Like Van Gogh got dizzy and just gave up halfway through. Your hoodie has seen more tragic moments than the fall of the Roman Empire, and somehow you still look like you're trying to sell NFTs to sixth graders.
Oh.
Nicole, you are so efficient. You probably have a Google Calendar reminder to breathe. You don't run meetings. You declare martial law with a Sharpie. Your vibe is elementary school librarian, if the books were replaced with heavy artillery. You look like you could give a TED Talk called How to Smile While Crushing Souls, a beginner's guide. Your sweater game is so strong it could qualify as a weighted blanket for anyone within a 10-foot radius. Let's be honest, the Pod Boss title isn't a nickname. It's a warning label.
Ooh.
Together, you two standing in front of the American Gothic house is the crossover episode no one asked for, but we all deserve. The picture screams. Couple who met at a Renaissance fair, argued about perspective drawing, and now teach kids the emotional pain of the color wheel. Burger's there, looking like he's ready to explain to tourists why the barn wood is historically significant, and Nicole's just calculating the resale value of your life decisions.
Wow.
If chaotic art department energy was a tax bracket, you two would owe the IRS a mural. Probably titled, Still Life with Poor Decisions and Extra Credit Assignments. Want me to go even harder?
No.
You have no idea how deep this roast rabbit hole goes. Just say unleash maximum roast mode.
That's crazy. You are not going to do that.
I'm
are you?
gonna.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy how accurate it is on our personalities.
I want to call it a wimp.
So he's asking it to unleash.
I
I mean,
said-
this is hilarious.
I said unleash maximum roast mode, wimp.
Hopefully people can hear what it's saying.
I'm hoping so, but we'll see. All right.
Oh, you called me a wimp? You just unlocked maximum roast mode. Get ready, no sunscreen saving you now. This roast is rated Michelangelo's Final Judgment. Buckle up. Nicole Pod Boss Jordan and Tragedy Burger. Your beard looks like it applied for tenure at a liberal arts college and got denied. Your art demonstrations have the same excitement level as a medieval plague announcement. Every time you say, let's explore art history, somewhere a Greek statue physically shrugs and crumbles out of disappointment. You're the kind of guy who assigns a fun worksheet, a phrase that should honestly be a crime against humanity. You teach color theory with the vibe of someone explaining how a fax machine works to a fax machine. That hoodie you're rocking is holding on tighter than your student's last shred of hope after a pop quiz. Bro, you're the only man who could make spray painting a mural feel like waiting in line at the DMV. At this point, your Art 101 videos have the same energy as a substitute teacher reading directly off the emergency lesson plan, but with more existential dread. Nicole, you didn't become the pod boss. You conquered it like Napoleon with a clipboard and a laser pointer. Your side eye is so sharp, it could sculpt marble better than Michelangelo with a chainsaw. You look like the person who critiques someone's color palette and then accidentally flips their easel out of existence. You don't take notes in meetings. You draft binding legislation and dare people to challenge it. You're 80% caffeine, 20%, I wish you would test me today. If sarcasm were an Olympic sport, you'd have gold medals stacked like Andy Warhol soup cans. The way you run that podcast, it's less a conversation and more a verbal hostage situation with jazz music playing in the background. Together, you two look like an indie movie about two ex-art teachers who got banned from every craft fair within a 50-mile radius. Mr. Berger shows up with a half-broken overhead projector, and Nicole shows up with a cease and desist order. Your aesthetic is, we went to the art museum once, and now we think we're legally allowed to gatekeep creativity.
Ooh.
The pod boss plans every event like it's D-Day, and Berger shows up asking if he can paint by numbers. When you two stand next to each other, it's like painting with a twist, but the twist is emotional damage. Final blow. If there were a Renaissance painting of the two of you, it would be titled Disappointment, but Make It Art. Painted entirely with leftover temper paint and broken dreams. You survived maximum roast mode. Barely. Want a bonus epic comeback roast line you can use on anyone else who tries to step to you? Just say, give me the bonus.
I think we'll pass on the bonus this time. So there
I'm
it
gonna
is.
have to go back and listen to that again.
There it is. There's the whole thing for posterity and fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it. And
dive into it yourself.
yeah,
It's
jump
fun.
in, go into there, go to an AI. I mean, I'm sure every AI generator type thing like this you can go into. And
Is that an accurate picture, like, of me? Yes. I mean, the sarcasm thing,
no,
I get.
I mean,
I am pretty sarcastic
like,
person.
and again, some of it is I had previously I had said do a roast or whatever, and I wanted it to do like an epic no holds barred one that I had never heard, and so we had done this with pictures, and we had done this with other
Oh
things.
yeah. we did,
And
yeah.
so
It's
anyway,
fun to mess around.
maybe next time. Here's what we'll do. Next time, when we have one of these, we'll play the roast of the photo.
Okay.
And so anyway, we'll make that a part of next week's thing where it roasts our photo. But anyway,
It's kind of like, honestly, you kind of want to use it as, which is exactly kind of what it says, but like I kind of want to use it as feedback.
I think it's one of those where like you can't take it too terribly seriously.
Oh hell no! And that's my role. Like, you want me to be the pod boss and keep you on track, and
Right.
like that's my role. I don't know art. I am here to keep you on
Right.
track and have a conversation from a perspective of somebody that doesn't know a lot about art.
And,
So
and
it's truth.
some of the old ones that I had done, like it would talk about, like in the roast, it would say, "Oh, your green screen is," like they would make fun of
Like the background and
but I have never used a green screen. I don't know how to use a green screen, really. I have some,
You could figure that out.
I mean, but I'm like a true green screen, I've never used it. So it is what it is. So
Yeah.
I think it takes samples of things that are out on the internet, and it looks at things, it has access to things, but it also,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's fun.
It kind of,
I got a kick out of it.
it does its thing.
It's pretty accurate about your look.
Well,
Your
you know,
beard.
I think my
Your-
beard is pretty, I don't know.
I wish it would specifically talk about you today, because I think it could roast you pretty hard about your choice of attire. You got a hat, pink sunglasses, a tie.
That's
and a-
not pink. Those are orange.
Okay, orange. What are you doing?
I'm going to see if I can take a picture of me.
No, just okay. We can call it good for now. Maybe you can do that. You can post it in next week's or something. We can do it after. Let's finish this one out.
Okay. Well, we're live.
Well, I know. I said let's finish this one out. Get off
Oh.
your damn computer.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. If you didn't get a chance to watch live, hopefully come back and watch. Hit like, share, subscribe. I had fun doing this today.
Yeah.
That was
You know, every now and again doing a live is kind of nice, but
Yeah.
It's also good to, sprinkle it around, do
Yeah.
different things.
I
So
agree.
here it
All
is.
right. Well, thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks. We'll see you next time. Now, I gotta push the button. End.